What's up, softball players? Coach Dan Blewett here. In today's video, we're going to talk about when you should start your college recruiting process. All right, so if you're new here, I'm Coach Dan. This is Snap Softball. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out my resources. I have a free online strength program you can try for 2 weeks. I've got a free arm care program. I've got a great email list with 4,500 people on it where I send out my new emails, my new videos, my new articles every week. I've got online courses, so definitely check all that stuff out below. And in this video, there's gonna be a bunch of other recruiting links. So I've got a video that I've recorded about how to make a good video, about how to start your recruiting process, about how to figure out how good you are, how to find a college coach's email address. All that stuff is in the description below, because this is sort of part of a whole group of recruiting videos, all right? So number one, when are you gonna start your recruiting process? That's a good question. It's gonna vary for every player. So number one, it's gonna depend on your skills and your physical development. So we all know that for any given freshman in high school, you might have a girl who's 5'9", 165 and super strong and destroys the ball and throws really hard. And then you might have a 15-year-old who's 5'2", 106 pounds, can barely hit the ball out of the infield. And the smaller girl, she might get there, she might be able to play in college, but she's not there yet. And so a lot of these recruiting companies, and there are some very reputable, very caring, hardworking, great companies. There are also some companies that just want to steal your money. It's tough to figure out which. I don't know which, but you have to just sort of like read between the lines. When everyone says, start earlier, you don't have to start before you're ready. If you're not physically developed, and this is my first tip here, is start your recruiting process when you're fully baked or most of the way baked. And what this means is a college coach isn't gonna be like, oh, looks like a nice player, is a really good fielder, I'll check back in 3 years. They don't really do that. If you're pretty good, they'll put you on a list to like, I gotta go see that player this summer, right? But they're not gonna extrapolate out for 2 years from now, 3 years from now. They might not even be at the same school 2 years from now. They might not even need a second baseman in 2 years from now. They don't know what they're going to need. They certainly make charts, and college coaches certainly are looking to the future and they're recruiting for the future. But if they can't figure out how good you're going to be, or even see that you could be a Division I or Division II or Division III or whatever player, there's not really going to be anything that's going to come from it. When you're pretty close, so you've got like a couple really good tools that you can really hit, but maybe your fielding's not that great yet, or you can really run, and your fielding's pretty good, and your hitting like needs some work, you've got a couple good tools. So you need to have some good tools. And if you don't know the 5 tools, it's hit for power, run, field, and throw. So if you have a cannon for an arm and you can really run like college caliber arm and college caliber speed, then you're probably ready to start showing yourself. But if you don't have college caliber speed, if you don't have a college caliber arm, if you don't have a college caliber bat, and you're only a good fielder, you're not ready to show yourself. They don't recruit players that can only field or that can hit but are just terrible fielders and super slow. You've got to have a couple of the tools to play in college. So the first tip again here is wait till you're pretty fully baked, and you might need someone to tell you. So go get an evaluation from a trusted coach. Ask your coach, your travel team, your high school, your middle school team. Ask your parents. Like, be really honest with yourself and get someone who will be honest with you about what you need to work on. Because if you really don't have like 2 or 3 pretty solid tools to play in college, like college caliber tools, then college coaches are just gonna look past you. They're gonna come and watch your team, and they're gonna see the couple players that stick out, and the rest of you are gonna be mostly invisible. That's just how it is until you're ready. And when you're ready, put yourself in front of everybody. But again, you don't need to start the recruiting process if you're 13 and you're tiny. You don't need to start if you're 15 and you're tiny. You don't need to start if you're 15, you're super duper slow and you can't hit. Just wait till you've got the skill, then spend the money and spend the time and effort in the recruiting process. Number 2, when you're ready to start your recruiting process is when you're willing to put in the work and email coaches. It's a lot of work. And if you have no idea where you want to go to college, it's not time to start the recruiting process then, right? If you're like, oh, I might want to do journalism, or I might want to go to medical school, or I might want to do political science, so I need a great political science program, or I might want to go to the East Coast, or maybe I'll go to the West Coast. If you have no idea, it's not time yet. You don't want to waste time emailing 30 colleges on the West Coast when you really just want to stay close to home, or, you know, there's just a lot of variables. So make sure you have an idea of what you want out of a college experience. Make sure you have an idea of geographically where you want to go. Make sure you have an idea of where you might be able to play level-wise, because there's no good reason to email 40 schools in Texas that are all D1s. There's sure there's not 40 D1s in Texas, but humor me. When you can't even play D1 softball, right? You're not good enough. So have an idea of all these things where you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure I want to stay in the Midwest. I'm pretty sure I'm going to play probably D2 or D3, maybe NAIA. I'm pretty sure I need a school with a, you know, a writing or journalism major. I'm pretty sure I want a big campus or a small campus. Then you can really narrow it down and have a good idea of the schools that are going to make sense for you. Then you can maybe email 6 schools that are really good fits, and now no one's wasting their time. So just wait till you have a good idea and you're willing to put in the work, because it's a lot of work. You have to really beat the pavements, cast a wide net, and put in the effort to do the recruiting process right. So if you're not willing to do that yet, if you still just want to run around and play softball for fun, that's completely fine, but wait on the recruiting until you're really ready to do the hard work. And my last tip here on when to start the recruiting process is, if you really just want to, if you don't know the answers to all that other stuff, you just want sort of a number, it's 15 or 16. It's 15 if you're pretty darn good, like you're the best player and a pretty dominant player, then it's probably 15. If you're a middle of the road player at 15, you don't really stick out, you don't really stand out from the crowd, then it's probably 16 is when you really hit the recruiting process hard. But the thing to know is that especially D1 schools that have a lot of scholarship money to give out, they're going to start to give that scholarship money away to sophomores. So those are the first players going to get signed when they get finished their sophomore summer. You know, they play their second year in high school softball. They play their sophomore summer. A lot of those players are going to verbally commit in that sophomore summer and after that sophomore summer. Those are the best players. Some players commit as freshmen, which is terrible. They're way too young to be doing that, but that's part of the process. We get it. So the best players are going to be off the board. They're going to be verbally committed by the end of their sophomore summer, and a lot of that scholarship money will be gone for that class. So if you're a sophomore and they've already signed a bunch of sophomores, that school might be out of money for your class. So my point is, that's not to say that if you're 17, you're a junior, you can't get recruited, because you 100% can, but the recruiting process, if you're really good and you want to be in that pool of scholarship money, and you rightfully probably can get some of it because you're pretty good, then 15 or 16 is when you really need to push yourself out there. So if you're a really good player, you're dominant at 15, 16, and people are saying, hey, you've really got something here, that's probably the right time to put some money into getting yourself seen, going to showcases, make sure you make a nice recruiting video and send it out and cast that wide net. Because again, 15, 16 is the prime scholarship earning period for D1 and D2 schools. Remember, D3s don't give out scholarships, NAIAs do, and junior colleges can as well, but D3s don't. So that's the long and the short of it, when to start the recruiting process. But really, it's going to be highly variable. It's when you want to. So don't let some company tell you that you've got to start now. Don't let some other person or parent in the bleachers tell you that you've got to start now. It's when you're ready. And when you feel like, I know what I want, I feel like I've got the skills, I'm ready to put in the work, then go do it. All right. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Coach Dan Blewett. Check out the description below for more links, my strength training program, my arm care program, my throwing course, my mental training course, my email list, all those great resources, many of them free of cost, are in the description below. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you here in the next video.